Dear friends, I am immensely happy to introduce this vivid and short presentation on the mission and the martyrdom of St. Thomas the Apostle in India. It is St. Thomas who planted the Christian faith in India, and we as Christians are called to live that Christian faith through our witnessing life. I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to all those who worked so hard to bring out this splendid presentation. May God bless you all.
Saint Thomas, also called the Didymus, was one of the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. He was privileged to have a rich faith experience and a personal encounter at the feet of the risen Lord when he exclaimed the immortal profession of faith, "My Lord and my God." There is a very strong tradition that soon after the resurrection of Jesus Christ, he came from Jerusalem to South India. He set foot on the shores of Kerala at Kodungallur in 52 AD. He baptized several people and found 7 churches in the following places: Kodungallur, Palayur, Parur, Kokkamangalam, Niranam, Nilakkal, and Koilan. He preached, wrought miracles, and labored for more than 10 years in these 7 places. He made people embrace Christianity. After his labors in Malabar region, he went to Mylapore in Tamil Nadu along the Coromandel coast. Even here, he was doing the same, teaching, preaching, and drawing a large number of the oppressed and suppressed into his fold. His conversion activities incensed the orthodox, and enemies from their rank vowed to finish him. He had therefore hidden himself at a cave in Little Mount. The enemies did not leave him. They followed him for a period of time with vengeance. At last, one day in 72 AD, he was chased and was martyred at a place now known as St. Thomas Mount. Later, he was buried at Santham Church. Let's reveal the historical evidence and salient features of the 3 holy places which are situated in India, Tamil Nadu, Chennai, namely Santham, Little Mount, and St. Thomas Mount. The National Shrine of St. Thomas Basilica, situated near Marina Beach, is of historical importance. This comes under the Archdiocese Madras Mylapore. The National Shrine of St. Thomas Basilica is one of the 3 in the world built over the tomb of an apostle of Christ. The others are St. Peter's Basilica, Rome, and Tomb of St. James, Spain. It is constructed using Gothic style. The Gothic churches are known for their tall spires. This style is very much adhered to in the architecture of the Santham Church. To visit the St. Thomas Tomb Chapel, move into the building behind the basilica. As you enter the tomb chapel, the altar and the statue of the dead Thomas you see at the far end and above the spot where he was buried. The new underground chapel with a separate access outside the church structure allows pilgrims to pray at the tomb and tourists to visit it without disturbing the sacred functions in the church. As for the church has so much history behind it, there has been several periodical references about this ancient church through many European pilgrims, visitors and travelers. But the Portuguese arrived in Mailapo in 1517 and again in 1521. They found the Santham Church in ruins except for the small chapel which contained the tomb of St. Thomas. The historical Gothic shrine, blessed in 1896, needed extensive restoration. What we see now is a restored basilica. On the right nave, there are two statues. One is that of Our Lady of Mailapo, and ancient and much venerated Marian statue, which has been in the church for centuries. It was in front of this statue that the famous missionary St. Francis Xavier used to pray in 1545. In fact, this particular representation of Mary, about 3 feet high, is called Mailai Mada in Tamil, or Our Lady of Mailapo in English. There is a statue of Christ as priest. This was added in the middle of the 20th century. Of particular importance are the stained glass windows of the magnificent church. On the eastern wall facing the worshippers as they come to pray are 3 windows with stained glass pictures of Jesus appearing to St. Thomas. There is a small museum with exhibits concerning St. Thomas and the history of Santham. Each exhibit is accompanied by an explanatory plaque. St. Thomas made this pole from the legendary log that was washed ashore, which was gifted by the King Mahadeva for building the church. Many believe that the area behind the church was protected and saved from tsunami by this pole. A piece of precious bone of the apostle and the spearhead that was used to kill him are preserved in Santham Basilica. St. Thomas' relic card is embedded with a little sand taken from the tomb of St. Thomas. The sand from the tomb is believed to have miraculous healing powers. the visit of the Pope John Paul II to St. Thomas Mount and Sandholm on 5th February 1986 gave the shrines a historical significance. We celebrate the feast of St. Thomas in Sandholm on 3rd July, whereas the feast of Mailai Mada is celebrated in the month of August. Little Mount is one of the 3 places at Coromandel Coast actively associated with the missionary labors of the Apostle. Even today, one could see a number of historic evidence for the Little Mount Church being the real place where the Apostle lived and preached. The ancient church, built by the Portuguese in 1551 AD under the title Our Lady of Good Health, is seen still the same as it was built. Inside the church, there is a beautiful statue of Mother Mary in altar. As one more historical evidence, the cave is still there on the left-hand side of the main altar, which is far from artificial. This cave is about 14 feet broad and 15 to 16 feet long, and not more than 7 feet in its height. Saint Thomas was believed to have lived or hidden himself from the persecutors in this cave. Even now, one can see the handprints of Saint Thomas while praying and a window opening inside the cave. The tradition says that through this window opening, the Apostle made a good escape when he was pierced with a lance. The clearly visible fingerprints are traditionally said to be the impressions of the saint when he escaped from the cave. Behind the church, near the altar of St. Thomas Rock with the cross, we can see a perennial spring. It is believed that when the Apostle Thomas preached the good news to the people gathered on the rocks, they were purged with thirst. The Apostle Thomas was said to have offered Mass and spent long hours of prayer in this place. Outside the small building of Miraculous Spring and Altar, one could see a boulder of a right foot impression, which is said to be the footprint of Saint Thomas while he was fleeing to the big mount at the time of persecution. Later, around the boulder, a tower was constructed. Behind the church, we can see a hillock and 14 stations of the cross. At Little Mount, the feast of Our Lady of Good Health is celebrated after the 4th week of Easter. St. Thomas Mount, soaring 300 feet high above the sea level, is located closely to the international airport Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This shrine comes under the Catholic Diocese of Chengalpattu. It is a place of international prominence, historical significance, religious glory, and tourist attraction. The facade of the chapel, ornamented and highlighted by the Portuguese coat of arms, serves as the official signature of the Portuguese. The shell-patterned roof of the chapel is the tunnel of the spiritual energy. An arch inside the church bears the title in Portuguese Senhora da Expectação 1523, meaning the Church of Our Lady of Expectation. The spot in the sanctuary where St. Thomas was martyred that floods the altar even now. The stone cross carved by St. Thomas sweated blood during the Mass on 18th December 1558. In the early years, the cross used to sweat blood every year, later on with a gap of 2 or 3 years, and then at longer intervals. The shrine church entombs a miraculous piece of bone of St. Thomas, casketed in a beautifully ornamented monstrance. The oil painting of Madonna, painted by St. Luke and bought by St. Thomas in 50 AD, is popularly known as Scapula of St. Thomas. This painting is the oldest in the country. The huge framed painting of the images of the Apostles of Christ and St. Paul are marvelous treasures of art and faith, painted in 1727. They are well preserved in the shrine. The 102 relics of the saint, including the 12 apostles, are treasured in the shrine. The scene of Calvary with a huge crucifix overlooking the city of Chennai is a striking landmark which was built in the year 1963. The Mount of St. Thomas was assessed by the devotees through 135 granite steps along with the Stations of the Cross. And an ornate arch with an imposing elegance constructed in 1726. In St. Thomas Mount, the feast of Our Lady of Expectation is celebrated on 17th and 18th of December every year. These churches with such an ancient significance are meant for everyone indeed. Irrespective of caste, creed and religion, all are welcome to get the blessings of St. Thomas. The divine presence of Jesus Christ that St. Thomas brought to India is vibrating at Santhome, Little Mount and St. Thomas Mount. It attracts people of all nations, of all colors, and of all religions. Let us also go with him and die with him.